I'm Jody Seibert. If you looked on the speaker schedule, you saw that the name of my business is The Dog Ate My Books. However, you can see I just made a change, which has been an interesting journey of rebranding. My new Twitter handle is Accounting Fixer. If you would care to follow me and comment. One thing I do like to ask people is if you have an idea for a blog topic, love to hear about it, because sometimes I can't think of all the 20 bazillion questions clients constantly ask me. I've been self-employed for about 5 years. Accidentally lost my job in a recession, but this is year number 5. I have to find on this. I was here at TechPHX last year as just an attendee, and this year I decided, why not? So we're going to be talking about some apps and tools to run your business from anywhere. If you're self-employed, even if you're doing this on the side, everyone has the dream of sitting on the beach running a business. And realistically, if you have a data connection, you really can do that now. There really are strategic apps that you can invest in. Some are free, that you can literally do this. Actually, I do. I live in Flagstaff. My family's in Pennsylvania. Last few years, I've gone to Pennsylvania for about a month over the holidays. Totally ran my business from Pennsylvania. Did I ever regret something I left behind? No. Because I'm paperless, all my apps are in the cloud, have a laptop, will travel. The only challenge gets to be I prefer to be in the Mac world, and as an accountant, I have to support QuickBooks for Windows. The reality is they have 80% of the market, just have to be there. And sometimes there is a reason it's a good fit for a client if they're a bigger fish in the pond to be using that. And last year I actually had to travel with 2 laptops, which was not entirely very fun. But I think this year I'll be able to only travel just with my Mac. I use my iPad mini for a second monitor. You got your phone, you're set. So one of my cool tools is Evernote. It's sort of like my catch-all. Client notes, I have my shoebox account integrated with this. Everything goes in here. You have a web clipper, everything you can possibly imagine goes in here. Although I will admit, you'll see me today writing on paper. I'm a hands-on person, but that typically means either those notes are going to get scanned into Evernote, or I will transcribe and summarize them, maybe create tasks in my project management, and then happily shred the paper. There is satisfaction in doing that. The cool thing is you can share notes, share notebooks. I have a premium version. I've had it since early on. I had now a business edition if you have other people you have to collaborate and more complexity. Although, keep it simple is best. We human beings have this amazing capacity to overthink things. Just don't do that. If you spend more than a few minutes thinking about something, especially when it comes to your accounting, you probably need to just stop. Credit Karma is a really, really cool tool. You can get your credit scores. Now they added credit reports. And even if you're just starting out in business, the reality is if you're applying for a credit card, a loan under a business name, you personally will be signing a personal guarantee. I'm not saying it's fair, it's right, it is. So you need to watch your personal credit score and your business credit score. If you're looking to get some credit cards or loans, Credit Karma will give you a list of credit cards to apply for based on your credit score and the likelihood that you will be approved with your credit rating. Because remember, if you do fill out a credit app, you're going to get what they call a hard hit, and you're going to drop a point or so by filling out that credit app. So if you're going to try to get a loan or a couple credit cards, you want to do this strategically. They have a phone app, they have the website if you want to do some more in-depth reading, but it's a really great place, especially in this day and age where accounts are hacked on a regular basis. You need to know what your credit score is and make sure everything's okay.
Just an addition to that, if you have a Discover or a Capital One credit card, they also give you your credit score for free. So that might be another useful tool to keep an eye on your score.
Yes, and you need to know this for sure. Square and Square Cash. It's the easy way to take credit cards. Square Cash is a recent addition that basically with an email address, you can, or a text, you can send someone cash, pay them, reimburse them, whatever.
Can they do it international?
No, everything's US bank based because of the banking regulations and the systems. The US is just kind of, we do our own thing and we don't necessarily do it best, we just do our own thing. Which is where we get into accepting credit cards. If you're one of these people that maybe you go to trade shows and you're taking credit cards somewhere, you might have heard about EMV chip and pin that's coming, and it is coming, and if you have a Square reader, it impacts you. Square has a special newsletter to sign up to stay educated on this. By October 2015, the switcher to... No, I think we're good now.
Sorry.
Thanks. They have a newsletter to keep you up to date on how this is happening. Square has already, and I knew, it's funny, I wrote a blog post about this a month or so ago saying, look, you need to be aware of this is coming. You are required to participate. We're going to get new credit cards. And you might say, okay, the new credit cards are going to have the magnetic stripe along with the chip and pin piece, no big deal. If you as a merchant are swiping credit cards with the magnetic stripe after chip and pin comes out, you, the merchant, are accepting liability if any fraudulent activity happens on that card. And that's a very, very important change that you need to be aware of. And my blog, it was funny, my blog post, I said, you know what, I don't think we're all going to be getting free credit card readers anymore. And just Thursday or Friday, Square came out with their latest update. You can pre-order the new reader for $29.95. I'm not in a hurry to do that. I rarely actually accept credit cards.
Is there a cutoff date?
The new EMV is supposed to be in place by October 2015. Amazingly enough, Square seems to be the only one providing a lot of education on the topic. It might end up being pushed out. I don't know. It's still basically a better part of a year out. But it's something that if you are taking credit cards, you want to stay up on. This is a newsletter you should subscribe to with Square and read it. They don't blast out a whole lot of them, they just give you an update, so it's not just going to get buried. They have a separate section of their website to learn about what they call EMV, is I forget what the EMV stands for, but it's basically the chip and pin that everyone but the US has been using for many, many years. The US has like the most credit card transactions, or actually, that's backwards. We have a smaller fraction of credit card transactions globally, but the lion's share of fraudulent transactions. So, and of course, you know, they're not going to finance, they finance how many years of fraudulent activity, but they're not going to finance the new equipment for us. So please don't ignore this, keep yourself educated. But Square is a great tool because you do not have to commit to a traditional merchant account. With those monthly fees, minimums, yada, yada, yada. And so it's a cool way to just go swipe a card on your phone, your tablet, and whatever. And now that, you know, they even Square integrates with some other web apps like Xero, the accounting software I use, and a few other things. But you do need to understand the liability you will be accepting once EMV is accepted, and make sure you upgrade to the tools, and it's not going to be for free. But it's cheaper than being responsible for fraudulent activity on someone's card. Square Cash is fairly new. I haven't really done anything with it, but I thought it was kind of cool. The payment methods you use for your business kind of is almost dictated by your clients. I offer PayPal and Intuit Network. People love to hate PayPal, and if they hate it, it's an absolute deal breaker. So, you know, the other thing about we humans is we like choices. So, and of course, if you're running your business from anywhere, you don't want to be across the country and have paper checks showing up in your mailbox. You want to get away from that. If you're doing any kind of paid work, that you're getting paid electronically. There's many, many options out there, and you know, the new fraud is what they call ACH fraud, where they take the routing number and account number off the bottom of your check and go shopping. So writing a check is not necessarily the best thing anymore either. Xero is my favorite accounting software. They're a company based out of New Zealand. I was one of the very first people in this country to get certified as an advisor on their software, almost 5 years ago. It is a very clean interface. They have a wonderful phone app for most freelancers, especially if you're service-based businesses, and that's primarily who I work with. It has everything you need and more. It has that all-important Pay Now button on your invoice, where you can email your invoice, have that Pay Now, because we all get way too many emails a day, right? So when you read the email, they say, oh, here's my action item, I'm gonna pay now. Whereas if they have to go find the checkbook and write a check and put that check in the mail, that's still not happening, they don't know what a checkbook is and they don't feel like it enough. So you wanna use the Pay Now buttons. They have multiple payment services that integrate Square, Stripe, PayPal, and any other external payment link you can have on there. And an awesome dashboard that you can see, who owes you, what bank transactions you need to take care of. Pretty much all accounting software now is going to have what they call the automated bank feeds, where your transactions automatically come into the software. No typing. It's the biggest barrier I see for people not having their accounting up to date is typing. But
It's not the typing, it's clicking all the damn little boxes.
yeah, well that too, and what do I do next? And that's one of the things you notice I did not say. You're not going to see in this presentation QuickBooks. I am a QuickBooks Pro Advisor. QuickBooks is part of my profession. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I don't do
That's
the
right.
accounting for my little company, my partner does, so, but I wanna get away from into it for philosophical reasons. So could this take over all of the accounting thing functions that QuickBooks usually does?
Yes, but before I would say it definitively, I would want to know more about your accounting. Xero does not have all the features of QuickBooks, which is where most accountants get hung up, even on recommending QuickBooks Online over QuickBooks for Windows. My take on that is, what do you need? Does this software have what you need for your business? That's what matters.
Are they very good with e-commerce? Like, we're talking 40, 50 plus transactions a day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which one?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, no, which e-commerce?
I use Infusionsoft and PayPal.
PayPal, yeah. You hook up with a bank account. Infusionsoft, there's probably some sort of connector. They have, when I started with Xero, they had like 3 pages of ads. Now they probably have something like 20. So there's probably something there.
Because I'm literally manually typing in each sale into each trade.
And how far behind is your accounting?
I have to do it quarterly because I have to pay sales tax.
Oh, well, that's true. And it should be done more often, whereas with the automation, which is where being able to run your business from anywhere, utilizing the automation means you have more time to go out and have fun. And you're not doing that marathon, talking yourself into, okay, I put it off as long as I can, I have to spend my entire Saturday doing this, I hate this, two pots of coffee later, maybe you have it halfway done. That's what I try to avoid. With tools like Xero and setting up the automation, you can spend 15 minutes a day in your account if you set it up correctly. Especially if you're service-based or, only 50 transactions a day, that's nothing to this, nothing. The automation that's available to make Xero work, part of the problem with QuickBooks is they recently redid their add-on market and they kicked everyone out. And then the the integrations that do exist, they've always been buggy, so I refuse to use them. Actually the real reason I found Xero was because when I started my business, I was using QuickBooks Online, and that was when QuickBooks was all about pop-ups. It didn't work on my iPad, and I was mortified to have to ask my client to use their computer to create an invoice because they want to write me a check on the spot, or pay me on the spot. That was not okay. And then I found Xero. And the clincher with them was I had a lot of questions about their partner program, because at that point they didn't have an office here in the US, they were in New Zealand still. They called me, and they have called me multiple times from New Zealand. So, hey, let's just talk about your questions here. Let's do a screen share and talk about this software issue you got going on. So, Intuit, I can tell you, does not do that. Ever. No. That's usually you call them, and even as a pro advisor, we don't hold for 15, 30 minutes, something like that. So QuickBooks Online is a much noisier interface, especially with them. Intuit kind of belatedly realized cloud accounting is not going away. So now they're dumping huge amounts of money into it, and their interface is just a mess. To the point that I'm having enough problems that I am strongly discouraging clients from using it because it's wasting my time and their money in the form of my local time. Whereas in this, I can set it up, I can go through and have a couple hundred transactions coded within a half hour or less, done. Give them beautiful financial statements to know what's going on in their business, done. I'm all about keep it simple. It should be an intuitive-based software that we do not, if I have to go through 3 weeks of training to use something, chances are it's not happening. Yes?
So you're actually not pushing, but you get the idea. Pushing clients toward using this instead of QuickBooks?
Lately, yes, because QuickBooks has caused me enough grief. At one point, my ProAdvisor account had major issues for a month, and the reason I got it fixed because I was screaming on LinkedIn and social media. I called them out on Twitter, and they get kind of upset because they don't like that bad publicity. I'm like, well, you didn't answer my question on the phone, so don't know what to tell you. So yes, I am pushing them because there's been too many issues, and there are ongoing issues. If you have an American Express card, don't use QuickBooks Online. Here's an example of you do not need an app for this. American Express thought it'd be really, really cool to create an app simply to import their transactions into QuickBooks, whereas they used to use the simple bank feed import interface, no problem. The problem with this app is that I then had to have access to their American Express account, and I had to, you basically have to pre-record the transactions within American Express and then import it into QuickBooks. Well, for like 3 months running, that didn't work. Literally did not work. Error, error, error. Said I had to have master admin account access to the American Express. I'm like, that is such a violation of security and all that, especially for me. I only needed read-only access to their account. So that is a very fine example of an app that was not necessary, and American Express has caused a nightmare. So with all the problems happening with QuickBooks Online right now, and I've always been very open to using whatever tools a client wanted to. I figure if you're gonna do most of the bookkeeping yourself and I'm gonna support you, I want you to pick the tool that you really wanna work with. But in the case of QuickBooks, it's just turning into just a colossal nightmare lately. And when you call QuickBooks and say there's a problem, what problem? You know how to use the software.
Sounds like Sage too. I have the old Peachtree that got acquired by Sage, and they're like, no, that's not how it's supposed to work. That's not how it's supposed to work.
The credit card encryption issue in QuickBooks for Windows. I posted something about it on LinkedIn ProAdvisor group. Somebody said, oh yeah, that's a known issue with Intuit. And like 2 hours later on the phone, Intuit couldn't tell me that. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, and they very belatedly realized where technology is going. Accounting is we're known for being very conservative. I've been in the cloud for 5 years, and a lot of QuickBooks accountants are just now realizing the cloud is there. And I've been there.
Do you feel secure though in the cloud?
Yeah.
Do you still back up to an external hard drive?
All my data is backed up either through Shoebox, Evernote, Dropbox. Some of it's on SugarSync. My personal stuff is on SugarSync. I've never had my online accounting hacked. What's the fun in that? You didn't get any money. I mean, yes, you're hooking up your bank feeds and entering your username and password for online banking, but it's encrypted. Now, if you make your password 123, I'm sorry, but you deserve that. You just simply deserve that, okay? There are apps, even lately, there for a while, I had a Chase credit card, and somebody blocked my account like 3 days in a row trying to hack it. One of the keys is don't use your email address as a username, or you can possibly get away from it. And then one of the things you'll see later is I do highly recommend using password keeper tools, so you can have, because we all face it, we all use the same 3 or 4 passwords, right? How many can you possibly remember?
That's it, yeah.
But not only do I have, think about how many passwords you have, just you. How many clients do you think I have, and how many passwords do you think I have?
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Shoebox, my other favorite toy. I actually am one of their ambassadors. You'll see an interview they did with me on their website. I haven't told them about my project management, long list of things to do. When I started my business, I did my own scanning. I had the time. And then all of a sudden, paper was, kind of. So I subscribed to their service. They have what they call the magic envelope, where I just stuff all my stuff in there, and I mean everything. Receipts, meeting notes, business cards, greeting cards, bills, you name it, it gets scanned by them in very high resolution. Because I like my data in multiple places, I have that integrated with my Evernote account, so that it goes into 3 special notebooks, so that it's all together. And actually, it integrates with Xero, but I feel like that's a duplication of your bank feed, so I don't do that. I use it to be the paperless part, because if you want to, and even if you are not looking to travel or work from anywhere, most people are using a space literally this big to run a business. Who has the space to store paper? And it's a fight, daily fight to keep paper out of your life. Go paperless, sign up for the, paperless bills, and I actually have a whole class I'm developing around that, calling it, basically a fix your accounting boot camp, and, day 1 is go paperless. And there are a lot of ways to do that. But managing the paper and being able to find paper, and the other reality is, think about a lot of the receipts you get and how fast that ink is disappearing now. And it's fast, faster than ever. Sometimes within a month, it's faded. So if you're audited, all you're doing is handing a box of blank paper to the IRS, and they're not going to be very used, I have to say. And I actually did have a receipt in shoebox I had to go find. My video adapter back there from Best Buy, in less than a year, died. And I needed a receipt. I went and found it. Whereas in that box and that mountain of paper that's over there, you keep ignoring week after week, you're not going to find it. Or if you found it, you wouldn't know if you couldn't find it because the ink disappeared, right? So Shoebox is great. And yes, these apps cost money. And here's something I see every entrepreneur ignore. Even if you are doing this as a side business, you are the CEO of a business. Your time is worth way more than minimum wage, and you need to value your time. Strategically investing in apps like this, $30 a month, my time's worth that. Because when I finally get a chance to sit down after a 12-hour day, again, I don't want to feel guilty by seeing a pile of something over there waiting for me to take care of. I know this is taken care of because I stuffed the envelope, and I have an envelope in my hotel room I'm stuffing my receipts in because I drove down from Flagstaff.
Just curious, do you have to have an actual scanner, or can you take pictures with your phone?
Shoebox has actually a free subscription where you can take pictures on your phone and upload in, because they will organize it based on the typical tax categories.
Mm-hmm.
And try to help you organize those receipts, because you can help use this to help get your taxes done. If maybe you're just starting out, maybe you only have a few dozen transactions for a year or something like that, this can help you get those totaled up. Of course, I want to see you using Xero and knowing what the financial status of your organization is. But Shoebox basic free subscription is an app on the phone that you take a picture and upload it, and it gets categorized and organized very nicely. So they have different levels. I'm on their second, whatever. I think I only pay $20, but I think I got in. Sometimes getting in the ground floor software is pretty cool because I pay almost nothing for things. But this is a great tool. $30 a month if you opt in for the regular plan. Your time is worth that, especially looking at how much paper is generated by a business.
Like insurance certificates too?
Yeah. Sales tax license, it all gets. Because here's the other thing.
And then do you have separate accounts for personal and business? Or do you right at the top of the thing?
Okay, between me and the IRS, yes I do. Realistically, probably not.
No, I mean when you send it to them. Or do you separate it in envelopes?
No, I have one account, but I know there's a lot of personal things it gets. But the IRS doesn't really say that. but I don't really, I think I have more business documents than personal anymore, but even my insurance documents, sales tax, business, I mean, it literally all gets scanned, because the other thing is, what if there's, think of fire, flood, whatever, things are destroyed. This is also how, you know, these apps and being paperless are how you can continue your business after a disaster.
So I use Evernote, I'm crazy, I have a mobile scanner, and the minute I walk in the door, I just throw the thing in there and then throw that in the trash. Just
Oh, yes.
automatically uploads. But what is the difference with Shoebox?
Shoebox is my scanning service, they scan it for me. I stuff an envelope, send it off, and they do it for me.
So you have hundreds of them, send them in, and it's,
The plan I allow lets me send in like up to like 150 documents a month, and every now and then I'll go through like files from a few years ago and try to clean out some more backlog. I looked at buying, you know, the scanners, because there's like neat receipts and ScanSnap and all them, and I stopped myself because, yeah, I like my toys, okay, I'm a geek. But there's the reality of, I don't have time to do my own scanning. And if you want to travel and run your business from anywhere, do you want to lug another piece of hardware? So it's kind of choosing the solution that's right for you. And I decided that no, I'm not going to buy the ScanSnap, although it's been in my Amazon shopping cart forever, because I don't have time to scan that stuff. And there's just better, and realistically, as a business owner, even if you're doing this on the side, your number one job is focusing on the revenue generating tasks, not filing and scanning. And that comes down to valuing your time as owner of a business.
What if the envelope goes down?
Go ahead, no,
What if the envelope you send gets lost, or do you
never had it
register
happen.
Never.
Statistically, it's very small, but if you are, you're screwed.
When I first joined them, they were a little slow at first, and I was kind of paranoid, thinking, oh my gosh, could I be subscribed to this? But they were having some growth issues, and they were kind of behind, and they quickly got around that. And now I will mail it off, and you will get an email saying, your envelope is here. And then usually within hours, you get another email saying, hey, stuff is scanned. So they keep you informed. And the scans have always been very high quality. You can choose to either have them return the documents to you or shred them there at their location. And they will take like 3 to 5 days for Shoebox to get it, because unfortunately they're on the East Coast. I wish they had an office out here, but you know, it's still a great service, because I see it as outsourcing a task for that $30 a month.
And non-value added tax.
Yes, precisely.
And so then if you need to look for a receipt, do you go to Shoebox to look for it, or is it also imported into your Evernote?
Honestly, I usually go to Evernote because I'm in there anyway.
And all the stuff comes in Evernote?
Yeah. When you set up the integration, you have to have at least their premium subscription. There's 3 notebooks. And I have it receipts, business cards, and other. And it all goes in there, and I usually maybe will sort it from there, but you can, you know, as you know, search for anything in Evernote.
Yeah, I gave up, I don't even use the notebooks anymore, I think of it as a huge pile in my living room
Yes.
that I can wave a magic wand and say, you know, this business, this date, and grab it.
As long as I remember enough keywords, I can always find something in Evernote. Although there's been a couple times I was at like a seminar or something and couldn't quite remember the right combination of keywords, although I knew what I was looking for, I just couldn't tell Evernote what I was looking for. But that's rare, because of the OCR and the high quality scanning, you can always find your stuff. I know, honestly, I couldn't tell you last time I logged into Shoebox. I'm more of an Evernote person.
Does Shoebox do the OCR? Oh,
They do. So you could actually log into,
their site and search.
yeah, and the same thing.
Because I'm just thinking, why would you pay double? If you're paying Shoebox, why would you also pay the upgraded plan with Evernote?
Because I want my stuff in more than one place. That's me. That's my paranoia. Because, you know, software companies, I mean, Shoebox has been around for a while, and Evernote has been around for a while, but that doesn't mean one day that they don't go poof. I want my stuff. And Shoebox doesn't have a way to sync it down to my desktop. I wish they synced it to Dropbox. With Evernote, it goes down to all of my devices, and that's where my comfort level is. So that kind of depends on you. The other cool thing is the contact relationship management tools, the CRMs, managing business cards, contacts. These also integrate with Xero, which means from the point someone fills out your contact request on your website through invoicing them, if your apps all talk to one another, there's no typing. the person who's filling out the contact request on your website is doing the typing for you, and all you're doing is adding a little text about what you're billing them for. So I really I use myself one-page CRM because if you're familiar with David Allen's getting it done, one-page CRM is built on that philosophy. It's very sparse, bare bones, focused on next actions to keep you on track when you get that request from the website. What are you supposed to do next? Who's supposed to do it? It's like $15 a month. I've looked at Nimble and Insightly, and if you're needing more of a social CRM, I would look at those. I've looked at them and I keep thinking, it's a little more than I want. Because again, I don't want to spend a lot of time figuring out how to use the software and setting it up. I just want to do stuff. So getting things done, one-page CRM works great for me, and then that information automatically gets pushed into my accounting software and every place else I need it, so I'm not typing it. Again, typing is the barrier to having anything financial done for your business, is how I've seen that with clients. FreshBooks, they're nice people who provided these books. They will advertise themselves as being a full-service accounting software. They are not. It means manually entering data. There's no way to reconcile and make sure you have all the transactions. However, what they do very, very well is time and billing, especially if you have independent contractors who are collaborating, that they can record their time, and then it gets automatically pulled into one big invoice for you, and you can set rebill rates and everything. So if you have a team you're working with, that is a very cool tool to do that. And I actually use FreshBooks for my time and billing, which then pushes the invoices into Xero. But after you read this book, you'd be like, well, why would I use FreshBooks? Because you're supposed to be getting away from bill by the minute and going to value pricing, which is a whole other topic. But being in the very, very conservative accounting profession, it's really hard to get out of that when everyone's assuming your accountant bills by the minute kind of thing. So I'm trying, but not very successful, I have to say. But I've been using FreshBooks since the very early days. I am on their accountant map. And for freelancers and the right people, it can be a nice tool to help automate some things for you. And they also have built-in payment options. And I still have my old Intuit Payment Network account, and I just put my payment link in invoice. I have PayPal eCheck as my second payment option. Most people pay through the Intuit Payment Network. That's what I said about choices earlier. Before I hit PayPal, it's a deal breaker. With Intuit, they do not have to create an account. They put in their routing number and account number. They don't have to remember one more username and password and link one more bank account and worry about it. That's the difference. Dropbox, my favorite toy. The cool thing is they have paid plans, but I invite clients to a folder every time I have a new client, so I get free space. I have like literally 16 gig of space. I've never paid one penny for my Dropbox account. That's how you do that. But there again, it works on my devices. It goes on my Windows, my Mac, my tablet, and my phone. My data is everywhere. It's backed up, and I don't have it in here, but I also use Mozy for my backup service. I have my data and client data. And of course, it's all password protected. Dropbox actually has dual security where you can register a computer and have extra codes and stuff texted to you. Any software that has that, I strongly recommend you set that up, so that if your device is picked up, like if you let my computer back there time out, it's going to ask for a password. Everything I own is password protected. You're never going to pick up my phone and think you're going to make a phone call, because I have client data that I cannot, it's financial, I cannot have it get out there. But it's a great way to collaborate and share files. Most of the time with me, it's bank statements and other documents that I need in order to do work for them. I don't know if I put it in here. File this. SugarSync is another one. I use most of that for my personal, because I have like a bazillion pictures from living out west. So that's, separating business and personal. SugarSync is where all that stuff goes, to keep all that. But SugarSync is another really good file sync sharing software. The tools you choose are kind of what suits you. Obviously, if you're a graphic artist, you probably want to look for something that you get pretty cheap space, because those files are very large. But it is a great way to keep your data safe. and be paperless and find those documents, that are in your Evernote and everywhere that you're not, and keep them. I actually have some things I put on Dropbox, not very consistently, I have to say. Should have been better about that, but somehow I'm not.
So StreamerSync is exactly like Dropbox?
Not exactly, there's a few differences, but it's very, very similar. Pricing probably is different, to some extent it's a little bit cheaper for the space. It mostly depends on what kind of space you need, what you're gonna choose. A lot of people don't look at what their online banking can do for them, and it can do a lot. I deposit checks from my phone. You can make payments. Online bill pay. You wanna stop writing checks and not be exposed to ACH fraud? When you go into your bank's online bill pay, which by the way, no one charges for, it's free. It's their check, their envelope, their stamp. One of the few things we get for free from our banks anymore, right? When you go online and you go into online bill pay, you have to set them up as a payee. They will print and mail a check on the day you say. The check they print and mail does not have your account number on it. They use like a generic bank account. So it is another way to protect your information. I use that. They also allow most banks to let you pay by text or email. Free, secure, fast. All they have to do is link their bank account to get your money. Pretty cool. So I'd really encourage you to look at what your bank apps can do for you. Very few people really take advantage of that. The one tool, my favorite new toy I didn't put in there is File This. If you remember Manila, it was a service that would aggregate all your statements in one place. File This does that. So you hook up your bank, credit card, utilities, everything, and it pulls them in one nice little cool folder, and it works with Dropbox. I went above their free limits, and I paid $2 a month, and that's $2 a month.
Can you do a personal and a business account with them?
Yeah, it is really, really nice. So that was like a really, really quick and I thought I put in here, if you want a copy of the presentation, if you go on my Twitter profile or my Facebook page, there is a link to get a copy of the presentation, if you wanted a copy of that, and you can also get a copy of a new ebook out, 5 Ways to Avoid an Accounting Nightmare. It's all about, and actually there's a few summaries up here if you'd like to help yourself. Basically the biggest mistakes I see people make when they are running their business or getting started. Even if you're doing this on the side, you need to get serious about it. Thanks.